Greetings, this is Jim Phillips, Postulant Master of the Priory of St. Clair, Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem. This audio version of the Vigil is presented for you so that you may enjoy it while reflecting on its mysteries. I hope you enjoy it. The Vigil. In the days of the original Order of Knights Templar, a prospective knight would spend his entire night before his knighting in solemn preparation and prayer. There were two forms of the vigil, which performed in correspondence to knighthood in the Middle Ages. The first was a standard vigil, a trial run for the lesser experienced combatants on the night before a journey or joust. The other was a ceremonious vigil of arms, which a squire was required to keep the night before he became a knight. It is this latter ceremony in which you will be participating in the night before your investiture. The ceremony, albeit much abbreviated from the original Vigil of Arms ceremony, is designed to impress upon you the nature and history of the order and to prepare you for the investiture. Originally, in the Dark Ages, knighting was done on the battlefield or shortly thereafter. If a squire performed some act of high bravery, he was knighted by his liege lord directly after the day's battle, with no pomp or ceremony. Then, around the year 1200, the Catholic Church took over the dubbing of knights and imposed its rituals and obligations on the event, turning the knighting into both a ceremony and sacrament. Under the Church's 2-day ritual, the candidate for knighthood took a symbolic bath, donned symbolic garments, and stood or knelt for 12 hours in the night-long sacred watch or at prayer. At dawn, Mass was said in front of the audience of nobles. The candidate's sponsor then presented him to his feudal lord and gave him his armor and weaponry after prayer and blessing has been said over each piece of equipment. The soon-to-be knight sponsor attached spurs. Then he knelt before his feudal lord and swore homage before he was officially granted the rank of knight. Any squire who had been deemed worthy of receiving his spurs, hence the saying, to earn one's spurs, and who had obtained a worthy sponsor, could be offered knighthood once he had undergone the Vigil of Arms. Every part of this vigil has its significance, and no part of it could be skipped, or the candidate would be declared unworthy of the honor and responsibilities of knighthood. Every action of the candidate during the vigil must reflect spiritual purity and integrity, and his worthiness of the reward of paradise. There are 6 basic actions of the Vigil of Arms. Every one of them is required for knighthood. First, the hair of the candidate was cut, since sacrificing one's hair was seen as a sign of devotion to God. Generally, the cutting of a single lock was considered sufficient, but some of the more holy orders of knights required their candidates to be shorn in the fashion of a priest's tonsure. After the hair was cut, the candidate was bathed and put to bed, symbolizing his having been cleansed of his past sins. Then, as a symbol of his new purity, the candidate was dressed in a long white tunic. A red garment with long sleeves and a hood was then placed over the white tunic, indicating the candidate was now prepared to share his blood in God's service and the service of his liege lord. Then, close-fitting black coat was put on top of everything else to remind him that everyone eventually meets death, and that the knight should never fear that death. Then, as a final preparation for his night-long watch, the knight-to-be was required to fast for 24 hours. This final step was meant to purify his body and soul, humble him into his humanity, and remind him to always champion the poor and meek. And, prepared at last, he would enter the chapel, kneel or stand before his weapons, which were displayed on the altar, and further humble himself before God in a holy watch of no less than 10 hours. The purpose of the Vigil of Arms was to purify the future knight, and is always to remind him that his duty to God and church superseded all worldly duties and possessions. After that, he was responsible to impose duty by his liege lord, then by his sponsors. He was also to champion the poor, the misused, and to hold all of these things above himself. Hello, and thank you for listening. This is Jim Phillips, Postulant Master for the Priory of St. Clair. What you've heard is from the Postulant Training Manual in pages 33 and 34, called the Vigil. The Vigil is an ancient rite, and it's a rite of passage. It's a preparatory phase to the actual investiture that you will be going through. Now, we will not be doing all the things that they're stating physically, but we will spiritually talk about them and discuss them and the importance of the symbology that goes along with the ancient rite. The work that we do is charity. The focus we have is on Christ. It is important then that as you think about this particular passage that you'll listen to, and I'll be sending you the book if you don't have that already, to be able to listen to that and reflect on what the ancients would have to do, what prior squires in preparation for becoming knights, what they had to do and participate in. When you think about the symbology, think about what the sacrifice is being made, the opportunities that have been given, but the sacrifice that is made to be able to achieve this role as a knight. As a knight or a dame, the obligation is the same. It doesn't change. And for you, we're excited about having you coming aboard. On that Friday, we will have between the hour of 6 and 7 o'clock, we will be meeting with you to have our vigil. Now, our vigil is only an hour long. It's not 10 hours. But we will talk about the things that matter the most in preparation for your knighthood. Please be prepared to come in at 6 o'clock, but we're not cutting anybody's hair, and you're not going to be standing for 10 hours. What you will be doing is sitting and having a comfortable talk with the postulant master, me, and perhaps another knight who may be coming in to just talk and share with you as well. We'll look forward to seeing you then. We're glad to have you. Remember, as we pray, non nobis Domini non nobis, sed nomini tua de gloriam. Not to us, O Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory. We'll see you soon. God bless.